Hey everyone, happy February. Welcome back to a new episode of the Saturday Morning Black Party Podcast. I'm your host Norbert, and we've got another interview for you guys today. Before you get started, I want to remind everyone that right now the podcast is on and episodes will come out when they come out scheduled, so sorry. But the timing kind of works out today because this episode was supposed to come out in December, but the fact that it just happens to be Black History Month when I'm finally getting around to it is a happy coincidence, so I guess it works out. Today we're talking to Tiffany Ford, who has done a lot of work with Cartoon Network. She's storyboarder for Clarence, which is a really good show. You should watch that. She's also worked on Steven Universe and the Powerpuff Girls special Dance Pants. It's a really cool interview, so sit back, enjoy, and I'll see you at the end.
I'm Tiffany Ford. I live in LA. I'm a cartoonist, and I can't drink any dairy, like at all. And that's pretty much all about me.
You work at Cartoon Network, and you do quite a few things. So can you tell us what you do at Cartoon Network?
Yeah, I'm a full-time storyboard artist, but I also do design work and color work, and I paint sometimes.
Okay, you do storyboard art. What's that like? Because there's different kinds of storyboarding. I talked to Ben Levin from Steven Universe a while, and he was telling me that Steven Universe and several other shows are storyboard-based.
Yeah, storyboard-driven, right.
Right.
Yeah. Ben's awesome. Probably one of my favorite people. Storyboarding, I'm on Clarence. Storyboarding on Clarence is really interesting because it is both outline and storyboard driven. So it's kind of half and half that way, where you do get like a broad, sometimes specific, episode breakdown. But then once it's given to the storyboard artist, I feel, from what I've experienced and what I've observed, I feel like the storyboard artist has a lot of freedom to take it apart, put it back together, rewrite, restructure, have fun. Like it's all very collaborative. So it's not so much like, here's your episode, just there you go, finish it up. See you never. It's more like, here's what we got, here's where we're going, here's where it's kind of rough, and then yeah. It's just like a workshop.
So what's the actual storyboarding process like? Do you put it on Post-it notes and post it to the wall, or do you have those sheets, or is it a computer program or something?
I think it's really up to preference. When I first started, I had never done storyboards before, so I was like, well, I gotta come with my best A game because I'm coming from color work, like a design background. I'm going to use all the programs, like all my drawings are going to be really crisp, really clean. I had such a strong reality check, like real quick. You cannot be coming in with your most precious drawings the first time you come in. If you want to come in with some Post-it notes, some little chicken scratches, that might be better because that stuff's going to come right back down. They're going to be like, this is not funny or like this, or, the reality is that they're going to be like, this is really funny, but let's make it funnier, or like, let's, what were you thinking here? I actually like that first thought you had. Let's do that. Meanwhile, you spent a week working on these super, super tight drawings. In the beginning process, it might not be worth it to go into the computer and really tie it down. However, sometimes if you're really passionate about your idea, it might help to really spell it out and sell it. So I've definitely seen that, where early on in the episode process, people will have a very almost clean representation of their sequence to really support their idea. So it kind of depends. It's very fluid.
Oh, that's interesting. So let's say that you've been assigned to do a storyboard. Can you walk me through the process from you getting the assignment to the shots actually being made?
Sure. I drive to work and then I think really hard about how I'm not going to mess this up. I drink my green smoothie and then I get to work and I pray to God that they don't pick me to read the outline. I'm really bad at reading out loud. And then after that, me and my board partner, Michelle Shin, who's amazing. She calls herself my work wife. She's very right about that. She and I go get lunch and we split up our episode, usually over that lunch time. Just really, really marinate in the episode. What is each act about? What can we do to play to our strengths? Michelle, you take this part. Tiffany, you take this part. This is better for you. And after that, we kind of just work on our sections for like a few days, right? Lately, I've been working a lot on Post-its, which is something I learned from Michelle, because you don't have a whole lot of space to be noodling your drawings. Like the Post-it is so little. And, you know, when you put pencil to it, the point of the pencil is really thick and vague sometimes. You gotta get like a really sharp pencil to get that crisp line. So what you end up with is like just the bare minimum of your idea, if that makes sense. Like just the expression or just the composition. You can't be putting in little tree, little flowers here and there. And after that, Michelle and I reconvene. And then right before the board is due, we freak out a lot. And we like spend a lot of time calming each other down. Like, you did your best. I did my best. It's okay. This is still really funny, I think. And then we pin it all up and we pitch. And then they put notes on it. Like, this should occur a little further in, or we can cut this out. This is actually not contributing to the episode. Or like, you know what? This ending is a little vague right now. Maybe we can beef it up. Or actually, this ending is like a little too convoluted. Maybe we can, you know, do this and that. Where's the arc? Oh, this arc is really nice. These are all the funny parts. Then we take all those notes and start again, where we like fulfill all the suggestions that the directors have made. Mm-hmm.
So the people giving you notes are the directors? Yeah,
the directors, sometimes the writers as well.
Okay. Do you have any shots that you were particularly proud of that you can remember?
Let me think. You know, truth be told, I'm not really like the strongest cinematographer, you know, like I'm not so confident in my ability to create shots, but I am really comfortable with my character acting. And I think that one of my favorite sequences that I was able to draw, let me think, I'm trying to think if it aired yet. What was that last episode that came out? It was like, I can't think of it off the top of my head because I don't want to spoil in case it didn't come out yet, but I will say that acting for Jeff is my favorite.
Jeff's great.
Thank you. I relate a lot to Jeff, which I think a lot of, when I've talked to kids about it, they're always like really disappointed that like the two characters I have taken away from all my experiences would be like Pearl and Jeff, those kinds of things. I like to clean, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like God bless that Marie Kondo for her folding techniques. Very smart lady. If you're ever curious about how to properly fold your shirts, hit her up. She'll help you out.
That's good to know.
Yeah. If you're curious, the book is called The Art of Cleaning Up. So I've listened to it twice. But yeah, I mean, not just because like I don't relate to like Pearl and Jeff because they are like neat freaks or whatever, but just because, especially when I'm doing acting for Jeff, I like that he is so passive aggressive, and it's fun to draw that process of like seeing somebody like with it nodding with you and then slowly being like, oh, you're below me. I don't think that personally. I'm just saying like it's a fun exercise to represent that in a cartoon.
I think the funniest Jeff moment to me is when he's in the dark hallway and he's talking about how he should have been the first one to get a girlfriend because he's such a nice guy.
That's so funny. I laughed so hard at that sequence. That was so good.
And I'm looking at your IMDb right now.
Boy.
Yeah, you're in the big league.
Cool. I didn't know I had one.
Well, it says here you're the color stylist on 52 episodes of Steven Universe.
Sure, yeah. I don't know how many episodes exactly, but I was a color stylist for a while.
So what does a color stylist do?
A color stylist picks all of the characters, props, and effects colors. So, which, you know, sounds really simple. it gets tricky because on a show like Steven, especially, many shows too, but on my experience on Steven, every character has like a different lighting situation for every episode, every sequence. So like Steven has to go from daylight and then walk into dim room, but the light in the room is more of a purple or a green. And while it's easier just to put a filter over each character and just say, all right, like they're all just going to turn green, it doesn't work so well like that because every character is specifically described by their colors. Like Garnet is that like burgundy and black, right? And then Pearl has that she's the trickiest, but like she has like you got to maintain that yellow and that white and blue, but it's all going to stay very light. And Amethyst has to be specifically like purple, and she can't dip into that burgundy realm that Garnet is in. So it gets really tricky when the lighting's red and you got to like figure out how to represent all these characters in a way that makes sense and it's comfortable for you to look at and it feels very natural, but at the same time breaking some rules of actual like, you know, reality, like the reality of how color would work. Yeah, it was really cool. That was such a workout, that whole show. I miss it all the time, and I think about that job all the time. I really, really miss it. I want to say working on Pearl was one of the biggest challenges of my like time on Steven, especially early on, because I wasn't confident in like myself being, you know, a professional color stylist. At the same time, there wasn't any rules as to how these characters should be colored. So I was really, me and Kevin Dart were just figuring it out, me, Rebecca, and Kevin. And Pearl can really easily look dead because she's just gray. So it was really gnarly sometimes when we would be coloring her and she would just have like no life, but she can't look human either. So we'd make her green and she'd look kind of like a zombie. And then other times she'd look like a corpse. And other times she'd look like Steven's mom if you know, she's just like a little too pink, or she would look like sour cream. So it got really, really tricky, and it continued to be tricky. But once, you know, it's funny, like once I got to know Pearl as a character that I had to work with, it got so much easier as time went on. Like you just start to become really familiar with how far you can push a character before they start looking not like themselves.
Oh.
Yeah. It was cool. It was super fun. Steven was a super, super, super fun crew to be on. I miss it all the time.
And I see you've also worked on We Bare Bears. You were the character designer for a viral video.
Oh yeah, for just the blink. That's all. I'm surprised to be credited at all, but I hope it's not uncouth to say that I can't really take much credit for that. I feel like the staff they have now has really done so much work than I could ever even have contributed. But I did a little bit. I just played around with the koala.
Oh.
Yeah, just a little. That seems to be the way at studios too, you know. It seems like you kind of ask your neighbor for help and you don't know what you're going to get credited for. But we're all there together. Everybody's just right next to each other. And Daniel Chong, I'd met super briefly in someone else's office. And now we just see each other. Now I know him.
So how does it work exactly working on a bunch of different shows in the network?
It's tiring, but it's fun. I like it a lot. I know it's a preference issue. I think some people don't like it because, you know, it's a lot on your plate. There's a lot going on. Kevin Dart is one of my biggest influences and mentor. And he, you know, watching him work, every time I saw him, you know, because I met him when we were working on Powerpuff, not the new one, but the one that came out maybe like 2012, 2013, that one, the special, Dance Pants. And every time I talk to him, every time I see him, he was working on something else. Like, we're over here trying to work on this cartoon and that fool was always working on like some feature for someone else. I was like, okay. But what I learned from that was that he doesn't put himself in a box, and he always is searching for, you know, like another opportunity to be something else in his full-time gig. And that really influenced me. So I sort of adopted that same kind of lifestyle where I'm always taking on extra jobs, be it from Cartoon Network or elsewhere. And I feel like in my unique situation, it's really great. It takes its toll on you mentally, and it definitely affects your relationships because you can't like be hanging out whenever because you got deadlines all the time. And I really like it. I really like it. Does that kind of answer your question? It's kind of a deeper answer than I anticipated.
I like your answer.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I've seen you've also worked in a short film as an actress in Safari Time. What was that like?
What is that? No, wait. I worked as an extra actor?
Well, I'm just looking at your IMDb, so maybe that's not exactly right. It says Safari Time. It says actress, 1 credit, Safari Time, short, post-production.
Oh, shucks. Oh, wow. Man, this interview's gnarly. I did work on that. Shucks. Yeah, I can't believe that film's on IMDb. Yeah, I did work on that. It was really weird and fun. My very good friend and cousin to me, Sean Viveres, directed that film, and it's just like a coincidence that we're both in media. But yeah, I just like kind of showed up for like a millisecond, putting down like a plate. I'm a terrible actor. It's kind of wild. I was like, I don't know if you're gonna pull a fast one on me now and find that other IMDb credit where I'm in the like some music video, but I actually didn't perform well in that music video because I like smiled the whole time, and you know, I wasn't supposed to, but at the same time I wasn't smiling. But when they showed it to me, I totally was, like teeth and all. And then it happened again on another shoot where somebody was like, and please, I'm not trying to put myself out there like I'm an actor. I'm not. The problem with me in freelance as well is I say yes to everything. I just get really excited about work and I'm just like, yeah, sure, I'll do work for that. And yeah, so I ended up kind of acting in this other thing, and I was smiling again, and they cut my head out because I was just smiling, and I wasn't. I remember like keeping my mouth stiff and trying to look real dead, but I remember one time like a certain director was like, "Close your mouth." It's like, rude. I am, and I remember like closing my mouth and hoping I was still like not smiling. So that's kind of just how it goes. I'm really glad for Safari Time you don't see my head at all, and I made sure to tell the director, like Sean, that I cannot be seen, like my face cannot be seen because I'll ruin it.
Wow.
Yeah, just cut my face out. It's not worth it. And luckily, like, I mean, he wasn't going to use my face anyway, but it was just something I was like really like stressing.
That's a very specific request.
Yeah. Don't show me. I'll smile and I'll ruin your project. Worst model, worst liar. I'm a terrible liar. Bad actor. Drawing's really like all I've got.
Okay. I have 3 questions that I ask you on my interview. The first one is, what cartoons did you really like as a kid?
Is that typically a really hard question for people to answer? It's like I need time to think about it. The one that pops up in my head the most is Sailor Moon, and then Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and then Powerpuff Girls. When I was like 9, I like had only just then got cable. I think I was like maybe 10 actually. And I'd seen all these shows kind of like in passing, you know, I was curious about them, but I didn't have a means to watch them. So I had and I'm talking about like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball. By the time I was like 10-ish, we finally got cable at home, and it like blew my mind when I saw like these characters. I just like never seen anything like that. I'd grown up on Disney movies, which I love still. I mean, I was watching them so much as a kid. I think I didn't realize how much it was going to affect me, but I still really love those Disney movies. Stark contrast though to like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, and Powerpuff, as well as shows like Dexter and like Rocco, like just these classic shows. Yeah, it just like totally affected me. A quick story about Powerpuff is that I remember like really wishing and like praying this is gonna be my job, is working on Powerpuff Girls. Like not even to be a cartoonist, but just gonna work on this Powerpuff show. I'm gonna draw some Powerpuffs, and this is gonna be my adult life forever. And yeah, you know, the show ended, of course. Mm-hmm. And I forgot all about it, about that whole like goal. But then like in 2012, Kevin Dart called me and said, you know, we're going to do this Powerpuff special. It's one episode. And you know, he takes me into Cartoon Network. Like we meet up, and P.S. Kevin Dart was not a rando to me. I was really crazy about Kevin Dart. I had made like a Kevin Dart fanfic. Sorry, I gotta back up. I had made a Yuki 7 fanfic in honor of Kevin Dart. I don't want that online, that I made a Kevin Dart fanfic. Wow. Yeah, dog. Sorry about that. Yeah, I made a Yuki 7 fanfic, and it was like a fan comic rather. So I was like really into Kevin Dart's work. And then yeah, he like shows me around Cartoon Network, and this Powerpuff crew is like less than 10 people. And I get to be in it. Like I get to be one of these very few people for one episode. They're going to bring it back for one more time. And they picked me, and I cried for like a week about it. I like couldn't believe it.
Dreams really do come true.
It was wild. Yeah. I hope that other dreams don't come true, because I had a dream like last night Mariah Carey was just like in my bed, and it was jarring, but I would prefer that didn't come true at all. But you know, yeah. Thanks for the support. Yeah.
Okay, and the next question is, what recent cartoons do you like? And by recent, I mean were in production within the last 5 years or so.
Okay. I'm not going to say Steven Universe, because obviously, right?
Right.
I really like, okay, another like very obvious ones that I just want to get out of the way is like Bob's Burgers, and like, oh shucks, I was getting ready for a whole list and I don't think of one. You know, just like all the very popular cartoons right now, I'm all about them. I think they're all great. My favorite ones are short films that students have made.
Oh.
I like films that are just floating around on people's news feeds, things people are sharing. I like seeing like stuff someone made in their bedroom. That's my favorite kind of cartoon right now, and has been for a while, but I don't know, you know, how to explain that to a lot of people sometimes when, you know, this question comes up. They find out you work in cartoons. They want to know what you're consuming. That I wish there was like a shorthand way to be like, very short independent student films that are much better than you could ever imagine.
Can you name any off the top of your head?
I can't, because a lot of times they're French, and also because I forget the title, but I can tell you which schools they come from. Like, I love the Go Blondes films. There's one, I think, French film. I can't even tell you the title of it, but a guy's spirit, like, or his life force is like shifted just a few degrees away from him. So like he can't directly touch anything to affect it. Like, for example, he can't actually put his hand on a doorknob. He has to put it like 3 degrees to the right of the doorknob to actually open the door. Does that make sense? It's really cool.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
It's really cool. And then there's Elizabeth Ito, who is a director on Adventure Time. She directed a short that I guess doesn't count either because I worked on it, but it's amazing. It like actually really put me on my ass. Like I couldn't believe she made that. It was so good. It's called Welcome to My Life. I don't know if when or it will air. I don't know what the deal is with it, but it's very, very good. And I like a lot of like the student films that came out of CalArts a couple years back. Jasmine Lai had a film about what she wants to be when she grows up, and it's also really good. Like perfect use of why somebody should animate something as opposed to live action. So just stuff like that. I like small projects.
Okay. And the last question that I ask all the interview guests, but I'm going to make a little amendment for you. Besides Powerpuff Girls.
Sure.
If you could be a part of the creative team of any cartoon, past or present, which would it be?
Kiki's delivery service. Yeah. I'd want to be on that team.
Nice. Good choice.
Thanks. Thank you.
It's my first Miyazaki film.
Really? Me too. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I was a kid and I cried when I watched it, which, is not so common. I don't think it's so common for kids to react that way. Like small children to cry watching a thing. But yeah, it really affected me and it still does.
Are you looking forward to the Steven Universe episode they called Kiki's Pizza Delivery Service?
Yeah, I think it's either Kiki or Jenny. I'm not sure, but Lamar Abrams reference. Do you hear that? That's someone making some
yeah, I heard it.
I'm really sorry. I live in the city. Lamar Abrams referenced me posing for either Jenny or Kiki, I can't remember, but sometimes I just do like a little pose, and then pose again when I have a new shirt or a new pants, new shoes, or if my hair is nice. And that's always something I think of when I think of Kiki or Jenny. But I love those. I love those girls. They're so funny, and I'm super excited for the episode.
Yeah, I got really excited when I saw the title.
Yeah.
So that's all my questions. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you?
Oh, that's a tough question too, because I feel like there's lots of things to talk about, but I don't want to take up so much time. I think one thing is that a lot of people always ask like how to get into animation, and I just want to address that there's like so many different infinite ways to get noticed and get your stuff out there. But I think mostly you should just do a lot of personal work and publish it online and reach out to artists that you admire, because a lot of times they are watching you too. And then one thing leads to another, you end up getting hit up for something.
And that was the conversation with Tiffany Ford. Again, the Saturday Morning Block Party podcast has shown you all that dreams really do come true. You can find all of Tiffany's links in the description, including her social media, her Tumblr, her Twitter, and her IMDb that she did not know existed until this interview. Thank you again for listening. I hope to see you all very soon. See you later.
The Saturday Morning Block Party podcast is hosted and produced by Norbert Daniels Jr. If you'd like to support the show, please share it and write a review and give a rating on iTunes. You can find us at SaturdayMorningBlockParty.com or on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. You can find the links in this episode's show notes. If you would like to sponsor the Saturday Morning Block Party podcast, or if you are someone in the animation industry who would like to be interviewed, or if you have any other business inquiries, please contact us at Norbert@SaturdayMorningBlockParty.com. That information is also in the show notes. Enjoy!